Everyone knows that dynamic good health depends in part on physical exercise. The human body was made for work, for movement. Our ancestors got their exercise from survival activities like chasing down the woolly mammoth or plowing the lower 40. Here in Hawaii, the forefathers of the native people got their exercise by planting taro and working in rhythm with the sea. In our modern world, however, our lives are too sedentary. Our work is in the factory rather than the field, or in the office instead of on the ocean. So we need to add exercise to keep our bodies healthy. The question is, what kind of exercise is best for you? Now, recently, fitness experts have begun to combine the best elements of a variety of different kinds of exercise, and they call this system cross-training. But wouldn't it be great if there was a single workout which satisfied all of your fitness needs and more? What if, more than just an exercise, it was also a system of self-defense, a means of meditation, a shield against disease, and a living philosophy and a beautiful dance? Wouldn't that be something? And what would you call it? What would you call a treatment that could possibly cure cancer without the use of drugs? Or a sport in which one could be a serious world-class competitor at age 90? What kind of name would you give to this fabulous, ideal exercise? Well, you might call it Tai Chi Chuan, the world's most popular workout, a daily exercise practiced by more than 1 billion people throughout Asia and around the world. Tai Chi Chuan, the ultimate exercise for the body, mind, and spirit. Aloha, my name is David Dorian Ross, and welcome to Tai Chi in Paradise. Now, before we start our journey of Tai Chi together, let me tell you a little bit about myself so you'll know about the lineage of your Tai Chi tradition. Now, I've been studying, practicing, and teaching Tai Chi for almost 20 years, and in that time, I've had the good fortune to learn from a variety of different masters, including some of the most famous teachers in mainland China. As part of my traditional training, I've had to enter many martial arts competitions, and as a result, I've won a U.S. national gold medal 4 times, along with 2 world bronze medals and a world silver medal at the 1993 World Tai Chi Championships in Fuzhou, China. But in addition to my traditional Tai Chi education, I also have a degree in human movement studies, which means that as we work through the Tai Chi lessons in this tape, you'll experience a combination of the traditional with the modern, the East combined with the West, a blending of yin and yang. Now, to effectively follow the lessons in this tape, listen carefully to my instructions and try to imitate the moves just as we do them. In other words, even though we face each other when you watch the TV screen, when I'm on my right foot, you should be on your right foot too. When I extend my right hand, you extend your right hand. Then at the end of the tape, we're going to turn around so that you can follow us as we do the entire form from the back. Now, I believe that Tai Chi is such an incredible tool for self-improvement that everyone in the world should hear about it and ought to be able to learn it if they want to. So, this is how I spend my time, sharing what I've learned with people like you and developing ever more efficient ways to teach the beautiful and powerful art of Tai Chi Chuan. Now, the best way to start your Tai Chi lessons is to watch the entire routine you'll be learning in this videotape. What you are watching right now is a performance of the most popular form of Tai Chi, a routine commonly known as the Yang-style 24-movement short form. This is the routine you'll be learning, and it's beautiful, isn't it? The most common form of Tai Chi Chuan, the usual starting place of your practice, is the solo routine. Each carefully choreographed routine, called a form, is a series of individual martial arts techniques, each connected by a slow and fluid sequence of transitional movements. Now, Tai Chi looks deceptively mellow, like Kung Fu in slow motion, and many people wonder how such a gentle and beautiful dance could actually be called exercise. But each movement dynamically stretches and strengthens all the muscles, oxygenates the blood, and fills the body with Chi, life-giving energy. Now, Tai Chi can be practiced anywhere at any time. There's an old saying in Tai Chi that all the room you need to practice is as much space as it takes for an ox to lie down. And that's less space than it takes to park a car, or about as much room as a sofa and recliner. Now, don't be put off by the apparent complexity of the Tai Chi routine. Actually, all of the movements are based on a very small number of basic positions of the hands and feet. And once you've learned those, you can do the entire routine. Now, our first basic position is something called the bow and arrow step, or bow step for short. Now, this is a lunge position in which the front knee is bent, like the bow, and the back leg is fairly straight, like the arrow. The knee never gets completely locked out. In this position, 70% of the weight is forward over the front foot, and only 30% of the weight is over the back foot. Now, in Yang-style Tai Chi, which is what we're learning, the front toe points forward towards your direction of travel, towards your target, and the back foot turns in about 45 degrees. And we can make the bow step in either direction, so if she turns around to make a new bow step, you always have to remember to do these two things. First of all, shift the weight forward, 70%, bending the front knee, and adjusting the back foot forward. Now, our second basic foot position is something called the T-step. Now, the T-step is pretty much like standing on one foot while the other foot just touches the ground with the toe down. Now, I want to introduce you to a new Tai Chi term here. It's called the Kwa. The Kwa is the hip joint area, the inguinal joints in here. Now, in this position with the hip open, we would say the Kwa is open. Kwa is a Chinese term. With the hip joint closed, we would say the Kwa is closed. Whenever you step up into a T-step, remember to open the Kwa. One knee points out 90 degrees away from the other knee. And we can make the T-step with either foot also. So every time we do this, step down, shift the weight, open the Kwa. The third basic foot position is called the empty step. Now, the empty step is almost like the T-step. You're basically standing on one foot, but this time the empty foot, the foot with no weight, is out in front of the supporting leg. And if you measured that, that would be about shoulder width. Now, notice in this position that both knees are bent, and the toe of the empty foot turns in just slightly towards the middle of the body. Now, we call it an empty step because the front foot has no weight on it. It's literally empty. So you should be able to pick it up off the ground without having to shift the weight first. Our fourth and last basic foot position is something called the crouch step or drop step. We'll get to this position much later on in the routine. Now, the crouch step is very much like the bow step because it starts out with one knee bent and one leg fairly straight. Now, in the bow step, you're looking forward over your front knee, the bent knee. But in the crouch step, you're looking behind you. Now, notice that one knee is still bent, one leg is still fairly straight, but still bent a little bit, and you're looking out over the bent leg. Now, later on when we get to this position in the routine, we'll talk about how much you should sink down. It's just sinking down a little bit, but it's like sitting on a chair just on one cheek. Now, our last basic position is a position of the hands, not the feet. Now, traditionally, we call this position embracing the moon, although we usually just refer to it as holding the ball. It's just like holding a big beach ball against your chest, with the top arm coming right over the top of the ball, right across the chest, and the bottom arm coming underneath the ball, right across the hips. Notice that the top elbow is relaxed down, and so is the top wrist, just like you're curving over that ball, and the bottom wrist is cupped upward. Now we can make the hold the ball position with either hand on top, and each time you change, you're making that circular shape in the air. Now what we want to do is combine all those basic positions, the bow step, the T-step, the empty step, we'll save the crouch step for later, and the basic hold the ball position into a simple stepping drill that you can use to practice your basics. Now CJ is going to help me out here as I talk her through it. We begin with the weight on the right foot, right hand on top holding the ball. The left foot steps out, landing heel first, and then slowly shift forward into a bow step. Remember, 70% of the weight forward. Change your hold the ball. Now bring the right foot up into a T-step, and then forward again into an empty step, and then forward again, landing heel first, and shift forward into a new bow step. Change or hold the ball. Step up T-step, and empty step. Now pause here for a second and check yourself. Are you really empty of weight? Can you lift the front foot up? Good. Now again, step forward with the heel first, and bow step, and on and on. You can practice this as many steps as you like. Now that you know the basic positions, our next step is to move from one basic position to the next basic position. We call this the basic transitional movements. And the basic transitions are what gives your Tai Chi routine its flow, its rhythm, its movement, kind of like music. I think it was Mozart who said that music is really the space between the notes. And in the same way, your transitional movements are the spaces between your basic postures. Now, the first basic transition is something called the simple step-in T-step. From any position where your feet are apart, simply shift the weight over one foot, bring the other foot into a T-step. It's that simple. We can do it in either direction, so shift the weight over, step in, T-step. Easy. Our second basic transition is called the rock back, rock forward to a T-step transition. We use this when we're changing from one bow step to another bow step. From a bow step, rock back, lifting up the front toes. Now some movements we pivot and turn, some movements we don't. Then rock forward, keep shifting, go all the way, all the way, all the way, step up into a T-step. Now remember, when you step up into a T-step, make sure the quad is open. From this position, we could step out into another bow step, shift forward, and if we wanted to continue the movement, we could rock back, pivot and turn, rock forward, keep going, step up, T-step for as many movements as you like. Now our third basic transition is something called the empty step change. This is a change, a transition from a bow step into an empty step. The bow step is double shoulder width apart and the empty step is single shoulder width apart. So this transition changes your foot position by half. From the bow step, shift the weight forward, the back foot steps in a half step, then shift the weight all the way back, lifting up the front heel to create a perfect empty step. Beautiful, watch that one more time. From the bow step, the weight shifts forward, step in a half step, shift back, perfect empty step. Now our fourth and final basic transition is something called the double weight shift transition. This is a transition we use whenever we want to turn around 180 degrees. For example, if we started out facing in this direction and we want to wind up facing in this direction, we'd use the double weight shift transition. From the bow step, rock back first, lifting up the front toes. The waist turns, turning the torso in this direction, also turning the toes forward. This is your first weight shift. See, the weight is already on this side. Now, shift the weight back, step in T-step, quad is open. This is your second weight shift. And from there, we can step out into a bow step, and we've turned around 180 degrees. Now, we can do this in either direction. So if we did it again, rock back, waist turn and weight shift. Remember to crank those toes forward, shift back and step in T-step, and then finally step out into another bow step. Now those are our four basic transitional movements. Combine these with your basic postures and you can do all the movements and transitions in the Tai Chi routine. Now we're about to start with the movements from the 24 movement Yang style short form. And the very first movement is named, very appropriately, opening the door. It looks like this. Watch us one time and then we're going to get you to join us. From the beginning position, the left foot steps to the left. Okay, that's it. That's why it's such a good beginning movement. It's so simple and short. Now we're going to break this apart, showing you just the footwork and then the hands. I'm going to get Noel to help me with the footwork first. We'll begin with the feet together. From this position, slowly the weight shifts over to the right foot and the left foot steps out about shoulder width. And then you evenly distribute the weight over both feet. That's all there is. One more time. From feet together, shift the weight over to the right foot, left foot steps to the left, shoulder width. Evenly distribute the weight. Now pause for a moment, and then both knees bend and your weight sinks down just a little bit. Beautiful. Now the hands work like this. CJ will help me demonstrate the hand motions. We begin the movement with the hands relaxed by the sides. Now after you've stepped apart, slowly the hands are going to rise upwards. As they get about chest high, you'll pause, the hands won't move anymore. Then as both knees bend, everything sinks down. That's the entire movement. Now here's the fun part. We put both the hands and the feet together. Watch us one more time, and then we're going to make you part of the group too. From feet together, the left foot slowly steps to the left about shoulder width, and then center the weight. Slowly, both hands rise upwards. About chest high, you stop moving the hands, bend both knees, and everything sinks down. The hands float down to about the level of your hips. Got it? Great. The next movement is called parting the wild horse's mane. Watch us one time, and then we'll do this together. Now, from the end position of open the door, the weight shifts over to the right foot. And that's it. As you can see, parting the wild horse's mane is a three-step movement involving a combination of bow steps and T-steps along with the hand motions. Now, once again, let's look at the footwork first and then go on to the hands. CJ is going to help me out with the footwork here. We begin at the ending of opening the door with the knees bent and the weight sinking down just a little bit. From this position, the weight shifts over to the right foot, the left foot steps in T-step. Now the left foot steps out diagonally, the weight shifts forward and the waist turns to make a bow step. From here, rock back, lifting up the left toes, pivoting on the heel, you turn left and step up into another T-step. Remember, the quad is open here. Right foot steps out diagonally, and the weight shifts forward, the waist turning to make another bow step. Last step, same as the first. Rock back, lift the toes, turn right, step up T-step, then left foot steps out diagonally to make the final bow step. 3 steps, just like that. Now let's look at the hand movements. Noelle's going to help me out with the hands here. From the end of open the door, the hands have floated down to about the hip level. Now from this movement, just the hands, no feet, we're going to make an embracing the moon or hold the ball position with the right hand on top. From here, the hands separate, left hand moving out, palm up, right hand down to the hip. From there, we make another hold the ball, left hand on top, and the hands separate in the opposite direction. Right hand out, left hand down. Then third, another hold the ball, and the last step is the same as the first, left hand out, right hand down. Now here's the fun part. We put all the hands and feet together. From the end of the opening the door movement. Shift the weight over to the right foot, step in T-step and hold the ball. Now left foot steps out diagonally, and as you shift forward, separate the hands, parting the horse's mane. Rock back and change. Here's our second part horse's mane step. One more, rock back, turn. Here's our last movement. Last step, same as the first, parting the wild horse's mane. Now it's time to talk about some of the basic principles which underlie the way the movements of Tai Chi are to be performed. Now perhaps the most distinctive characteristic of Tai Chi is the fact that the movements are done so slowly. It's certainly the first thing that most casual observers of Tai Chi notice. Now there are a lot of reasons for this, but there are 2 that you should be aware of as beginners. First, the incredibly slow pace forces you to concentrate your attention on the precision of the movements, which gives you greater focus and mental acuity. And secondly, as you do the repeated slow movement through each limb's range of motion, that forces open and then reinforces new neuromuscular pathways, which gives you greater muscular control. So you see there is both a mental and a physical reason for the slow movement. So this becomes our first basic principle. The movements must be done slowly. Ideally, the short form takes between 4 and 6 minutes to perform. But while you're learning, here's a good rule of thumb. As slowly as you think the movement should be going, you can always go a little slower. The next movement is called crane spreads wings. Watch this one time and then we'll all do it together. From the final position of parting the wild horse's mane, empty step change, crane spreads wings, and relax. Now if you remember, parting the wild horse's mane was a 3-step movement. This one's only a 1-step movement, but we do use a new transition called the empty step change. Let's just do the footwork first and then we'll put the hands together later. I'm going to get Judy to help me out with the footwork first. From the final bow step of parting the wild horse's mane, this is what happens. The weight shifts forward onto the left foot, the right foot steps in a half a step. Now the weight shifts all the way back to the right foot and the left heel lifts up to create a perfect empty step. This is the empty step change. One more time, watch what happens. From the final bow step, right foot steps up a half a step. This is the empty step change. As you shift back, lift the left heel. Now, here comes a little waist turn. The waist turns a little bit to the right and then back to center. And the very last motion is to pick up the left toe and place it back down again right in front of you. Now the hands work like this. Lam's going to help me out with the hand motions. From the final position of parting the wild horse's mane, you know the left hand is extended out, right hand behind you. We're going to form another hold the ball position, this time left hand on top. From here, the right hand will float gently upward to meet the left fingertips. Now the waist turns, and as it turns back, the left hand floats down to the hip. Crane spreads wings, very simple motion. Now let's put hands and feet together. From parting the horse's mane, empty step change and hold the ball. Right hand up to crane spreads wings, turn, turn back, replace the toe. Now the next movement after crane spreads wings is called brush knee and push. As we do this movement, I want you to watch very closely to see if you see something familiar. From the end of crane spreads wings, wind up, and relax. Now, did you see it? Did you see something familiar? If you were watching closely, you probably noticed that the footwork of this movement is exactly the same as the footwork in parting the horse's mane. So let's just quickly review this one more time. Lam's going to help me out with this footwork here. From the end of crane spreads wings, rather. First, we're going to have a little wind up where the waist turns right and the left foot steps in to make a T-step. From here, the left foot steps out diagonally, the weight shifts forward, and the waist turns to make a bow step. Rock back, turn left and change, step in T-step. Remember the quad is open here. Right foot steps out diagonally to make a bow step. One more time, rock back, turn right, step in T-step, and the last step is the same as the first, as the left foot steps out to make that final bow step. Just the same as in parting the horse's mane. Okay, now the hand motions work like this. Judy's going to help me out with the hands here. From the end of crane spreads wings. Now, I'm going to turn you just a little bit to the corner there so you can see the wind-up as we do this. The movement starts with the hands circling around. Now, we're just going to do the right hand first. Right hand circles down, around, and to the corner, ending up palm up out from the shoulder. Now the elbow bends, bringing the hand in past the cheek and ear, and then the waist will turn forward, and the hand slowly presses out in front of you. Now, in the final position, notice that the elbow is still bent, so we never get completely straightened out here. Left hand now begins at the end of crane spreads wings, palm down. It also circles over the top, over to the right, and across the chest, palm down. Then it continues to press down across the chest, around the hips as the waist turns, and finishes right by the hip, palm down, just like in crane spreads wings. Put the two hands together in a continuous circle from the end of crane spreads wings. And the right hand goes down, left hand goes over the top, everything circles over to the right side. Then the right elbow bends as the left hand pushes down, turn, brush around the knee, and push. Now here's the real fun part. We put the hands and feet together. From the end of crane spreads wings, wind up. Step in T-step. Left foot steps out, turn, brush the knee and push. Rock back. Turn left and the hands wind up to the left side. Right foot steps out, left arm bends, turn, brush knee and push. Rock back, turn right and wind up. Last step, same as the first, fold in, brush knee and push. Beautiful.
You may have noticed how relaxed and graceful the Tai Chi movements look. A good Tai Chi player will exhibit inner strength and control, and at the same time will seem to flow like water. Your form can look like this too, if you practice the second principle of Tai Chi. Relax the body. Let's try an experiment. Can you tell the difference between this and this?
Now see, actually in both examples, CJ is raising her arms, but the second time she unnecessarily pulled up her shoulders too. You see, it's possible to lift the arms without tensing the shoulders, and this is the essence of this principle. In technical terms, we call this differential relaxation, because you're identifying the muscles needed for an activity as opposed to the ones not needed, and then memorizing the difference between the two. In fact, all the time we're practicing the Tai Chi, we're continuously going through this process of learning to differentiate and then relax in motion. Now the next movement is called Play the Pipa. The instrument you're looking at right now is actually a biwa, which is the Japanese cousin of that Chinese instrument. Now here's what it looks like. Watch this one time and then we'll do it together. From the end position of brush knee and push, empty step change, play the pipa. And relax. See, it's another simple one-step movement, and if you are watching carefully, you'll notice that the footwork of this movement is exactly the same as the footwork of crane spreads wings, so you already pretty much know how to do it. Now Trella's going to help me out with just the feet and no hands. From the end of brush knee and push, from the end of bow step here, here's what happens. The weight shifts forward and the right foot steps up a half a step, then shift back all the way, lifting up the heel to create an empty step. The waist turns and then turns back. Now watch carefully. Here the last motion is to replace the foot, this time heel down, toe up. There you have it. Now the hands without the feet work like this. Bill's going to help me out with the hand motions. From the end of brush knee and push, we begin this way. Slowly, the left hand floats up. As it does, notice that the palm turns slowly upwards. The waist turns and the right hand folds in, bending the elbow. As the waist turns back, both hands turn to face each other, and the right hand squeezes in under the left elbow, playing the pipa. See, here's the upward hand fingering the chords, here's the lower hand plucking the strings. Now, we'll put it all together, hands and feet. From the last position of brush knee and push, empty step change. Slowly the left hand floats upwards, the right hand folds in, turn back and squeeze. Play the pipa. And relax. Beautiful movement. Now the next movement after play the pipa is called step back, repulse the monkey. I know it's a funny sounding name, but believe me, I don't make them up, I just report them. Now, step back, repulse the monkey looks like this. Watch this one time and then we'll all do it together. From the last position of play the pipa, right hand turns palm up and circle. This is called stepping back to repulse the monkey. Got the idea? Great. Okay, and relax. We actually do a few more steps than that, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Now we're going to do the footwork first and then we'll add the hands later. Trella is again going to help me out with the footwork here. From the end of play the pipa, we're in an empty step. Remember, this time heel down, toe up. The movement starts with a little waist turn to the right and then turn back to the left. Now here, the left foot steps backwards, just like you're walking backwards. The weight continues to shift all the way, making another empty step. Waist turns, turn back. Again, right foot steps back, shifting the weight all the way, making another empty step. Waist turns back. You get the idea. And relax. Now the hands kind of look like doing the crawl stroke from swimming. Also kind of looks like doing brush knee. Bill's going to help me out with the hand motions here. From the end of play the pipa, remember that the two hands are squeezing in towards each other. The motion begins when the right hand turns the palm up, then circles down, around to the corner. The elbow bends, bringing the hand past the cheek, and then it pushes forward as the waist turns, passing palm over palm. The other hand now floats down around to the corner, elbow bends, coming past the cheek, turn and push palm over palm. One more time. The right hand moves to the corner, folds in. Now pause, everyone. It's at this moment, when the hand is right by the cheek, that's your cue to step back with the opposite foot. Continue on pushing forward, etc., etc. Okay, now here's the fun part. This is where we put the hands and the feet together. Turn to face this direction from the end of play the peepaw. Right hand turns palm up. Circle down. Fold in. Right here we step back and push forward. Turn. Holding in the elbow. Step back and push forward. Remember, the weight shifts all the way back, lifting up the left toe, left heel to make an empty step. Step back and push forward, etc., etc. You get the idea. Okay, and relax. Now, actually, we take 6 step back repulse monkey steps. But since we got the idea, we don't need to actually count them out for you. You can just follow us along as we do everything together. We make you part of the group. As we turn around, I want you to follow along with us at home. Turn to face this direction. Here's the end of play the peepaw. Right hand turns palm up and circle. Folding in, step back, repulsing the monkey. That's one step. There's 3 steps. Here's the 4th step. 2 more to go. Step back and shift the weight all the way, creating an empty step. Step number 5. And step 6, ending with the left hand, left foot in front. And relax. Okay, we're back again with another basic principle for you to apply to your Tai Chi movements. Now, Tai Chi is what we traditionally call an internal martial art. The term internal refers to the idea that in Tai Chi the strength comes from the inner life energy rather than from the outer external muscles. Now, these are 2 completely different kinds of strength. In Chinese language, physical strength is called Li, while the internal energy is called Qi.
It's no accident, then, that the very movements of Tai Chi should seem to flow from the inside out. And they will, too, if you practice the 3rd basic principle. The movements must be natural. Another way of expressing the natural motion principle is the movements should be simple or easy.
That's right. None of the movements or postures we learn in this routine should ever make you feel strained or uncomfortable. If you ever feel like you have to tie yourself up into a pretzel to do a movement, then you're probably making too much out of the posture. Today's movements are some of the most fundamental movements in your Tai Chi short form. They're called grasping the bird's tail. They contain many basic postures. Watch us one time and then we'll all do it together. Okay, this is from the last position of step back repulse monkey. The right hand floats over. Got it? Okay, and relax. Now, if you think that looks like a long, complicated movement, just relax because it's really very simple once we break it up. We'll start with the linear movement first because it's a little bit easier to see. From a bow step forward like this, the hands relax by the side. Let the hands float up. When they get about chest high, rock back, withdrawing the hands into the chest. They sink down around the belly button, and then as you rock forward back to your bow step, they push just gently. Now, pause there. Notice that in the final position, the elbows are still bent, so nothing gets completely straightened out here. Okay, got that part? File it away. We'll come back to it in a moment. That's the linear part of the waist movement, back and forth. Now, here's the rotational part, and Judy's going to help me out with that. The movement grasp bird's tail starts in a position we call ward off. W-A-R-D, ward off, like keep away. Here the left hand is out in front of you. The palm is cupped and facing you, the thumb pointing up towards heaven. The right hand is down by the hip, palm down, fingertips pointing forward. From this position, the left hand starts to turn palm down, and the right hand floats forward, palm up, until a position where the fingertips are just about in line with the wrist. Now rock back and turn the waist as you go. The hands float around to the corner. The right elbow bends, bringing the palm back to the left wrist. The weight shifts forward again, back to a bow step, pressing as you go. Now pause here. This should look just like ward off with extra strength. The right hand slides over the top of the left. The hands separate. Now the rest you know. Rock back and withdraw, and rock forward and push. And that is grasp bird's tail. Great. Now we have one more little piece to do, and that's the transition from the end of step back repulse monkey into grasp bird's tail. So follow along with us and we'll do it all together. Here's the last position of step back repulse monkey. Now from here, very simply, the right hand floats around to the corner. Turn the waist and step in T-step and make a hold the ball, left hand on top. Diagonal step with the left foot, right into ward off. The right hand floats up, rock back, turn. Hands float to the corner. Now the right elbow bends, bringing the palm back to the wrist, turn back, rock forward and press. Slide the right hand over the top of the wrist, separate the hands, rock back and withdraw, rock forward and push. Grasping the bird's tail. Easy movement, beautiful movement. Now, the next movement after grasp bird's tail on the left side is grasp bird's tail on the right side. It's exactly the same movement, just done to a different direction. Watch us one time, and actually you can see if you can follow us along. Turn to face this direction, holding the ball with the left hand on top. The right foot steps out diagonally, ward off. Left hand floats up, and rock back, pulling the hands around to the corner. Left elbow bends, bringing the palm back to the wrist, rock forward and press. Separate the hands, rock back and withdraw, rock forward and push. Grasping the bird's tail. What an easy movement, because you've already learned the other side. Now to get from one side to the other, we need to employ a new kind of transition, which we call a double weight shift transition. Watch us one time, and then we'll all do it together. From the last position of grasp bird's tail, first rock back. Now turn the waist and shift the weight to the right foot. The hands floating, right hand floating out a little bit farther. Shift back over to the left foot and step in T-step, forming a hold the ball. And now we step out, making ward off. Okay, and relax. We're going to do the rest of the movement all together with the transition and the weight shift and everything. But we're going to turn to face this direction so that you can follow along with all the parts of the movement at home. From the last position of step back repulse monkey, right hand floats down over to the corner. Step in T-step. Now diagonal step and ward off. And continue the movement. Okay, now get ready, because we're about to do our double weight shift transition. Rock back. Turn the waist to the right and let the hands float as you shift the weight. Shifting the weight again the second time, hold the ball, left hand on top, step out and ward off. Left hand up, shift back. Left elbow bends, folding in, shift forward and press. Rock back and withdraw, rock forward and push, and relax. And that's grasp bird's tail, both sides. Well, I hope you're ready for the next principle, because it's the one which really helps turn Tai Chi into a challenging physical workout.
That's right. The fourth principle in our list is the principle of sinking down. From the very first movement of the routine, the Tai Chi player must lower his body weight by bending the knees and then maintaining this posture until the end of the routine. And this is what we call sinking.
Now, there are a couple of basic reasons why sinking is so important. First of all, when you sink down, you are lowering your center of gravity closer to the ground, which increases your stability and balance. And the second purpose for sinking is to build up the muscular strength of your thighs. You see, when you remove the mechanical advantage of standing erect and then try to walk around in that Tai Chi half squat position for 10 or 15 minutes, the leg muscles have to work overtime, and they slowly but surely become stronger.
Now, it doesn't matter how much you sink. You can sink a little or sink a lot, but you have to stay at the same level throughout the whole routine.
Now, the next movements that we're going to learn are some of the most beautiful movements and unique movements of the entire Tai Chi form. The name of the next movement is single whip. Following that is a movement called wave hands like clouds. I know you're going to love it. First, though, let's do single whip. Now, from the last position of grasp the bird's tail on the right side, watch us one time, and then we'll do it together. Rock back and turn. And that's it. Single whip's a fairly easy movement because it's only got one step to it. Now, if you watched carefully, you'd probably notice that the transition we use from the end of grasp bird's tail into single whip is another double weight shift. Let's just do the footwork first, and then we'll add the hands to it. Now, Noelle's going to help you with the footwork of the double weight shift. From the last position of grasp the bird's tail, we'll just do the feet with no hands. First, rock back. The weight turns to the left. The weight shifts to the left foot, then the weight shifts back to the right foot, step in T-step. From here, left foot takes a diagonal step to create another bow step, and this will be the last position of single whip. Now, the hands work like this, without the feet. The last position of grasp bird's tail is a push, remember. Now, after you rock back, the waist will turn, and the right hand scoops under, left hand just floating. Right hand comes up in front of your face, and as the waist turns, it floats over to the corner. You'll be stepping into a T-step here, and the right hand will just simply fold at the wrist and hook. The left hand will be now up about your chest level. After you step out into your bow step and the waist is turning, the left hand opens up, single whip. Notice that the right hand is still there in the corner, hasn't moved. Now, this position here is what we call a hook hand. It's made by placing all the fingertips and thumb together so that there's a single point here, and then the wrist is bent. Elbow is also bent, shoulders relaxed down. Okay, now let's put all those elements together. The last position of grasp bird's tail. First, rock back. The waist turns and the right hand scoops under, left hand just floating. Right hand up, floats over as the waist turns, and you step in T-step. Right hand folds over and hooks. Step diagonally, and the left hand opens out with the waist turn for single whip. Now, the next movement after single whip is called wave hands like clouds. It's one of the most beautiful movements in the entire Tai Chi routine. Even the name is beautiful. Watch us one time, and then we'll all do it together. Now, here's the last position of single whip. Rock back, wind up. And pause. We'll stop right there. Now, wave hands like clouds, as you can see, moves sideways. It's kind of a different kind of step. So let's just do the footwork first, and then we'll add the hands together. Noelle's going to help me out with the footwork here. From the last position of single whip, just the feet, no hands. You watched carefully, you would know that there's another double weight shift going on here. So first, the weight shifts back, lifting up the left toes. Pivoting on the heel, the waist turns to the right so that the toes are pointing straight forward. Now, the weight simply shifts back in, and the right foot steps in, not completely together. There's about this much room between your feet as you step down. Now your feet are parallel. The weight shifts over to the right foot again. little waist turn along with it. Left foot steps out. Shift over, right foot steps in. Shift over. Left foot steps out. Shift over, right foot steps in. Shift over, left foot steps out. Shift over, right, you get the idea. That's the sideways step of wave hands like clouds. Now the hands are going along with the footwork, of course, so CJ is going to help me out with the hand motions. From the last position of single whip, and here we'll just do the hands, no feet. As the waist is turning to the right, the left hand scoops down. The hook has released here. Pause. Now notice how the left hand has started to float upwards and the right hand has started to float down, changing position. Now we've got the left hand up and the right hand down. The waist turns and you just carry the hands floating across the body. Change again. Right hand up, left hand down. Waist turns across the body. Change. Right hand down, left hand up. Turn, hands float. Change. Waist turns. Have you got the idea? Okay, we'll pause right here. Always ending on the right side with the weight on the right foot and the right hand up. You'll see why in just a moment. Okay, should we do it all together? All right, let's do it from the end of single whip. Here's the hands and feet put together. Rock back. Now the left hand scoops under, the right hook releases. Change, now shift over to the left foot. Change hands. This is our second step. We take 3 steps. Here's our third and final. And pause, ending with the weight on the right foot. Have you got it? The next movement flows right from the end of wave hands like clouds. And the movement is another single whip. Now we're going to start from the first single whip all the way through wave hands like clouds, and you just watch how it develops this way. From single whip. Rock back. Turn. Here's wave hands like clouds. Our third and final step. Weight finally shifts over to the right foot. Now watch carefully. The right hand hooks, step out, single whip. It's just like before. Long ago, Tai Chi wasn't called Tai Chi. It was called Chang Chuan, or long boxing. The name implied that it took a long time to complete the routine, and while practicing, the routine should appear to be one long, continuous movement, rather than a series of little ones.
Although we learn the movements one by one, when practicing the whole form, the movements should flow together continuously, without any breaks in between.
This is our next principle, the principle of continuous motion, and it's important for 2 reasons. First, when the physical motion stops and starts, the chi flow also stops and starts, opposite of our ultimate goal of smooth and continuous chi circulation. Now, secondly, when applying the martial arts techniques, the moves should also be smooth and connected to be most effective.
So, from movement to movement, posture to posture, keep flowing in continuous motion.
Now, after the end of grass bird's tail, wave hands like clouds, and single whip, the next movement is called high pat on horse. It's a pretty easy movement to start the next segment. Watch us one time and then we'll do it together. From the last movement of single whip. Okay, here we go with an empty step change. High pat on horse. And relax. See, I told you it was a very simple movement to start with. It's just a one-step movement. Let's do the footwork first, and then we'll add the hands a little bit later. Judy's going to help me out with the footwork here. We start from a bow step at the end of single whip, and the change is simply an empty step change. The weight shifts forward a half step, then shift all the way back, lifting up the left heel. And that's it. That's the entire footwork right there. Okay? Now the hands work like this. Lam's going to help me out with the hand position. From the end of single whip, as the feet do their empty step change, the right hand will open palm up, and so will the left. The right elbow bends and the hand comes past the cheek, pushing palm over palm, almost like step back repulse monkey. The left hand comes down to the hip, palm up this time, and the right hand is pushing pretty much right in front of you, right along the center line. And that's all there is. Now, we coordinate the hands and feet together this way, from the end of single whip. As you begin your empty step change, let the hands float and turn palm up. As you shift back, fold in the right elbow and push forward. And relax. Now here comes the more challenging movement. The next movement is called step up and kick with heel. Watch this one time and then we'll do this together. From high pat on horse. Turn and cross hands. Step out. And relax. Okay, now I can read your mind all the way at home. You're thinking, boy, that's a hard movement. But it's not really if you just follow the basic position. Lam's going to help me out with the basic footwork. We'll get the hands in a moment. Now let's try a little experiment. What I want you to do is simply to shift your weight over to the right foot, just like Lam's doing here, and lift up the left knee. Now put the foot down, shift the weight over, lift up the other foot. Very simple. One more time. Step down, shift the weight over, just lift the knee, and then slowly extend the foot out, and fold in, step down, shift over, the knee comes up, and then extend the foot up. That's step up and kick with heel. There's no more to it than that. Okay, now the movement develops like this. Just the footwork first. Let's start from the end of high pat on horse. So you're in an empty step. Okay. First the waist will turn slightly so that you're looking to the corner. Left foot steps diagonally to the corner, and then as the waist turns, the weight shifts forward until you're all the way on top of the left foot. Step up, T-step. Look to this corner over here and lift the right knee, and slowly extend the foot out for step up and kick. Beautiful, and relax. Thank you, Lam. Now, Judy's going to help me out with the hand motions here. From the end of high pat on horse, as the waist turns, the left hand crosses over the chest, almost the hand on top of the right bicep. The foot will step out diagonally, and as the waist turns and the weight shifts onto the left side, the hands open up in a big circle across the chest, down, around, and at the moment that you step in T-step, the wrists are crossed again. The knee lifts, the hands lift, you turn to look to the corner, the palms turn out, and they separate out. Now the right hand is going to be right in line with your kicking right foot. The left hand is going to be going into the other corner, making a V. Now, here's the challenging and fun part. Let's put all the hands and feet together. From the end of high pat on horse. First turn and cross the hands. Step out diagonally, shift forward and circle the hands out. Step up, T-step, and cross the wrists. Lift and kick. Step up and kick with heel. And relax. Have you got it? Terrific. Now, the next movement after step up and kick with heel is called step up and box both ears. Now that's not a very poetic name, I know, but it's a very practical term and a very practical movement. Step up and box both ears looks like this. Watch us one time and then we'll do it together. From the end of step up and kick with heel, just a small kick is just fine. Fold in and brush down. And relax. It's another pretty easy step, at least the footwork is easy. Judy's going to help me out with the footwork as we break this apart, first the feet, then the hands. As we begin the movement, the weight's on the left foot and the right foot is kicking. Now just a small kick is just fine. The first thing that happens is that the right knee bends and the foot folds in. The waist turns a little bit more so that you're looking right to the corner. Then the right foot steps out, landing heel first, and slowly shift forward into a bow step. And that's all there is to this movement. The hands work like this. Without the feet, at the end of step up and kick with heel, they're separated out into both corners. As you turn the waist to look to the corner, the hands fold in, the elbows bending and the palms facing you. As you step down, the hands brush down, they'll go past your knee, Pause. Now when they reach right here, about your hip level, you make two fists. The hands can continue to circle out, around, and upwards so that your knuckles of the index finger of both hands are facing in towards each other. The shoulders are relaxed, the elbows sinking down, everything curving upward this way. Boxing both ears. I won't step in there because I don't want to get my ears boxed, but that's about the alignment that you want to have. Okay, now let's put the hands and the feet together. From the end of step up and kick with heel. Turn and fold. Brush down past the knee, step to the corner, making two fists, shift forward and box both ears.
Here's the symbol I'm sure everyone has seen before. But you know, I'm always surprised at how few people really know what it means.
Now this is the symbol which represents the harmony of yin and yang. Yin and yang can be generally defined as this and that, two opposite and equal mirror images of one thing. Now at the heart of most Asian religions and philosophical beliefs is the principle of yin and yang. And as we see in this diagram, the ideal state, the natural state, is for yin and yang to be in perfect balance.
The next principle guiding the Tai Chi movements is this: balance your yin and yang. The Tai Chi movements should all show a balance of force and direction, left and right, up and down. In other words, of yin and yang.
Now, according to ancient Chinese philosophers, the universe is constantly in motion, like a wheel, ever changing from one extreme state to another. Moreover, the direction of change is from one state to the other and back again. The wheel never stops turning, and the progression from yin to yang never comes to a rest. Now, in the same way, the movements of our Tai Chi forms are always changing from one extreme to another and back again.
Yin is usually represented by the gathering positions, and yang, the final postures. So if you ever get lost, just try to figure out where you are in yin and yang cycle and move in or out in the next phase.
Today we're going to learn some new movements which require you to sink down a little bit. And if you're a beginner or if you have any problem with your knees or lower back, I want you to take it really easy. Make the intensity very small. In other words, don't bend your knees too much, don't sink down too much. Just follow along with the basic movement and have some fun with it. Now the next movement after step up and box both ears is called step up and kick with heel. We did one on the right side, the next movement is on the left side. Watch this one time and then we'll all do it together. The last movement of box both ears. Rock back and turn. Lift and kick. And relax. Now the kicks really are beautiful, and the challenge of the kicks will go away as you get more flexible and more well balanced. You see that the movement on this side is just the same as the first step up and kick. Let's just look at the footwork first, and then we'll put the hands together later. Now Chola's going to help me out with the footwork first. We begin in a bow step with the right foot forward. Now, as we do the explanation of this movement, I need you to not only watch carefully, but also listen carefully, because no matter which way you turn, for a while you're going to have your back to us. We begin by rocking backwards. It's another double weight shift. Turn, and turn the waist, shifting the weight to the left foot. Now the weight shifts back to the right foot and step in T-step. Now the weight's all on the right foot, the left knee lifts up, and slowly kick out to the corner. That's all there is. It's just the same as the first kick. All right. CJ is going to help me out with the hand motions here. Without the footwork, just the hands, it looks like this. We begin in the final position of box both ears. The shoulders are relaxed, the elbows are sinking down, the knuckles of the index finger are pointing in towards each other. First, slowly and gently, the palms open, the fists relax. The arms circle out as you turn. The hands then circle back together, crossing at the wrist. As the knee lifts, so do the hands. The palms turn out and then separate. Now, just like before, the left hand's going to be right over the top of the left leg, and the right hand extends to the corner. Now here's the fun part. We put both hands and feet together. Turning to face the corner, step up and box both ears. You rock back, opening up the fists. Turn, and the left hand separates away from the right. Shift in and step in T-step. Lift and kick to the corner. And relax. Now the next movement after step up and kick with heel is a movement which is a little bit more physically challenging. So I want you to really be careful with this movement at home. Remember, as we sink down, don't try to sink down quite as low. Sink down just a little bit. The movement is called the snake creeps through the grass. What a great name. Watch this one time and then we'll do this together. Turn to face this direction, weights on the right foot, and the other right foot. We step up and kick with heel. Small kick is just fine. Doing hands and feet together, fold in, step back, sink down, push through, and relax. Now, as you can see, this requires us to learn a new foot position. It's a foot position called a crouch step. Now, Trella's going to help me out with the crouch step position here. First, the footwork without the hands. Now, we're going to go to some really basic elements of the crouch step. Turn to face this direction and make a bow step for me.
Right foot forward.
Left foot forward. Now, the bow step and the crouch step are very similar because in both positions, one knee is bent and one leg is straight. In the bow step, you're facing out over the bent knee. So no matter which knee is bent, you're looking ahead of it. In the crouch step, however, if you turn the head and sink down just a little bit, you're looking out over the straight leg. Now, here's another slight difference. Turn the foot so that it's pointing straight forward. The knee is now straight up. Both knees are bent a little bit, and it's just like you're sitting down on a chair. Now, for those of you at home who are just beginning here, I want you to think of this as a tall chair, okay? So you're just sitting down a little bit. Now, from this crouch step position, you shift forward to make a new bow step. And that's the footwork of snake creeps through the grass. Okay, now here's how we get into it from step up and kick with heel. All right, this time we'll start with the weight on the right foot. Okay, just the feet, no hand. Now step up and kick. Small kick is just fine. The first thing that happens is that the left knee bends, pulling the foot in. The left foot now steps diagonally behind you, and you turn to look out over the straight leg and sit down just a little bit. Shift forward, making a new bow step, and that's the footwork of snake creeps through the grass. Thanks, Trella.
Sure.
CJ's going to help me out now with the hands of this movement. Starting from, we'll face this direction, starting from the end of step up and kick. Remember that the hands are separated into the corner. Now, as the knee bends and the foot folds in, the right hand will make a hook, just like single whip. And the left hand will fold across the chest, across the body here. Now, as the foot steps out into your bow step, the left hand continues to sink down across your chest. And as you shift forward into your bow step, you push out. In the final position, the hook is behind you, and the snake, see here's the snake's head, is pointing forward. Okay, now, we're going to try this a couple of different times, putting both hands and feet together. Follow along with us at home. Now, let's turn to face this direction. Weights on the right foot, step up and kick. Left knee bends. Now the right hand hooks, left hand folds in. Step back diagonally. Shift down. Here comes the snake into the grass. Push through. And relax. Now the next movement after snake creeps through the grass is called the rooster, stands on one leg. What a great name. Watch this one time and then we'll all do it together. Now we're turned to face this direction. The right foot is behind you, the left foot is forward. The right hand hooks. From this position, shift forward. Rooster stands on one leg. You can see where the movement gets its name. And relax. Now let's break this apart, doing the footwork first, and then we'll add the hands later. CJ's going to help me out with the footwork. In the last position of snake creeps forward, the left knee is bent, the weight is shifted forward over the left foot, the right leg is behind you. Now this is kind of a stretch, so you really need to use those visualization techniques we've been talking about. Visualize your energy going forward as your weight shifts over the left foot more, step up. If you need to, you can stop in a T-step, but the movement continues with the right knee raising upwards. Rooster stands on one leg, just like that. Let's do it again so you can see the continuity of the movement. From the end of snake creeps through, all the way through, the weight shifts forward, the knee comes up, rooster stands on one leg, just like that, and relax. Now, Trella's going to help me out with the hands here. I'm going to turn Trella the other way so that you can see exactly how the hands work. This is just the hands, no feet. Now, in the final position of snake creeps down, we've got the left hand forward, the right hand hooked behind you. As you begin to make the change, the hook will turn palm up, and then the two hands switch. The right hand coming forward, the left hand coming back. The right elbow bends, palm opens up. The left hand is down by the hip, palm down, fingertips pointing forward, almost like parting horse's mane. Okay? And that's all there is to it. Let's put both hands and feet together. Okay? Let's do it in two directions. First, we'll do it facing this way. Here's the end of snake creeps down. Shifting forward. Step up and lift. And relax. Great. Now we'll do it the other way so you can see the hands as they work with the feet. From snake creeps through. Shift forward. Rooster stands on one leg. Have you got it? Great. Now the next movement after rooster stands on one leg is called snake creeps through the grass. We did one with the left foot extended. Now we're going to do another one with the right foot extended. Watch us one time and then we'll do it all together. Now we'll go back to rooster stands on one leg with the weight on the left foot. Right toe comes down. Turn. Lift and hook. Step out. Sink down. Push through. And relax. They're ready to go on to the next movement, but we'll hold on to that for just a minute. Now, as you can see, it's the same movement that we've already learned. Let's take a look at the footwork first, and then we'll do the hands afterwards. Now, we want to look at the transition between the end of rooster stands on one leg into the next snake creeps down. Trella's going to help me out with this footwork. Remember the weights on the left foot to start with. The knee is bent. The right knee comes down, just touching the toe down. Now, picking up the other toe, turn about a quarter turn. Now the right foot comes up again and then steps out diagonally just like before. You turn and look out over the straight leg, push through, snake creeps through the grass. Sorry about that, Trella. And that's all there is to it. One more time. From rooster stands on one leg, just the feet, no hands. The right toe comes down, you're pivoting on the toe, turn a quarter turn, pick up, and step out diagonally again. Turn and sink down into the grass, just a little bit. Shift forward. That's the next snake. Okay, now here come the hands. CJ is going to help me out with this part. At the end of rooster stands on one leg, we've got the left hand down by the hip, the right hand up. As you make your quarter turn, the hands will circle over to the corner. Left hand making the hook, right hand coming across the chest. You'll step out and begin to sink down, and as you sink down, this right hand comes down across the body. Pushing through. The snake, here's the snake here, creeps through the grass, just like before. Okay, here's the fun part. We put the hands and the feet together. From the end of rooster stands on one leg. Now the right foot comes down, quarter turn, circle to the corner, step out diagonally, sink down, push through, and relax. Almost ready for the next movement. If you think really hard, I bet you can tell what the next movement is. The next movement, that's right, is another rooster stands on one leg. Watch us one time and then we'll put it all together and make you part of the group. From the end of the second snake creeps to the grass. Shift forward, step up, and lift. Same movement, just the other side, and relax. Now these kind of movements need to be put in perspective with the rest of the form. We're going to start a little ways back from step up and kick with heel. Follow us along at home and you'll be able to see how all of these movements flow together. Let's turn to face this direction, step forward with the right foot for box both ears. Okay. From the end of box both ears, we first do a kick, then a snake, then a rooster, then another snake, and then another rooster. Rock back. It's the Tai Chi Zoo. Step in, lift, kick, fold, step back, sink down, push through. Step up, rooster. Foot comes down, quarter turn. Step down again. Push through. Step up and lift. And relax. The next movement after snake creeps through the grass and rooster stands on one leg is called the Fair Lady Works at Shuttles. Now this movement, if you've never worked on a shuttles before or weaved on a loom before, has the image of lifting up the bar on a weaving loom and pushing the shuttle carrying the thread through it. The other hand then lifts up, pushes the shuttle through it. So the Fair Lady is working at the shuttles on this movement. Watch this one time and then we'll do this together. We turn to face this direction, the weight is on the right foot, left knee up. And we step down slowly, holding the ball. Rock back and change. And relax. As you can see, Fair Lady Works at Shuttles has 2 steps to it. It's a multiple step, kind of like part horse's mane and brush, knee, and push were also multiple steps. Here we take 2 of them. Now the footwork in this movement should be very familiar to you because it's another series of bow steps and T-steps, just like part horse's mane and brush knee. I'll get CJ to help me out with the footwork of this movement. From the end of rooster stands on one leg, here's just the feet, no hands. Now the left foot comes down and the toe turns out so it's pointing straight forward towards 12 o'clock. You step in, T-step, now pause here. Just like before, the claw is open. Now the right foot steps diagonally to the corner and you shift forward into a bow step, this time facing the corner. Rock back. Pivoting on the heel, you turn to the right, step up, T-step, again the claw is open, and then step out diagonally to make another bow step. Again, facing the corner in your final position. Great. Let's move it back this way. And I'll get Trella to help me out with the hand motions. Now the hands begin from the final position of rooster stands on one leg. So remember, the elbows bent, the fingers are up, the palm is slightly outward. See, it's this kind of technique here that we're working on. The other hand is palm down, fingertips pointing forward. Now as you step down, the hands circle around and fold into a hold the ball position with the left hand on top. As you step out diagonally, the hands begin to unwind. The right hand lifting up overhead, the palm rotating outward. And then as you shift the weight forward into the corner, you push forward with the other palm. So we have the left hand up, the right hand up, the left hand pushing forward for Fair Lady Works at Shuttles. Now our transition, we rock back, and again the hands circle around to make another hold the ball, this time right hand on top. We'll step to the corner, and as the weight shifts forward, the hands unwind, so that now the right hand pushes forward, and the left hand lifts overhead. In the final position, this left hand overhead is about in line with your eyebrow, and the left hand, the pushing hand is right in front of the chest. Okay. Now, here's the challenging and fun part. We'll put both hands and feet together. Turning to face this direction. Here's rooster stands on one leg. Turn and step down, holding the ball with the left hand on top. Step diagonally, shift and push. Rock back and change. Step in, T-step, and step out. Facing the corner, Fair Lady Works at Shuttles. The next movement is called Looking for the Needle at the Bottom of the Sea. Watch this one time and then we'll all do it together. So we turn to face this direction. We're in the corner doing Fair Lady Works Shuttles. Empty step change. Wind up. Looking for the needle at the bottom of the sea. And relax. See, the footwork is fairly easy. It's just one step. And actually, it's footwork you've already done before. It's very much like doing crane spreads wings. I'm going to get Noel to help me out with the footwork on this movement here. We begin from a bow step, which is the last position of Fair Lady Works Shuttles. From this position, the weight shifts forward, bringing the right foot up a half step, then shift all the way back to make an empty step. Remember, lifting up the heel. Now, just like crane spreads wings, the waist turns, and then turns back and replace the foot right in front of you. At the end of the movement, there's a little bit of a sit down, like you're sitting down on a chair, but not too much. And that's it. That's the whole movement. You've done it before with Crane Spreads Wings. Now, CJ is going to help me out with the hand motions here. At the end of Fair Lady Work shuttles, the hands are pressed into the corner and one hand is lifting up overhead. Now, the hand motions here are a little bit like doing brush knee and push. As we do the empty step change, the hands are floating. As you shift back onto the right foot, the hands begin to circle, just like doing brush knee. Over to the corner. Now, this time, instead of brushing past the face, the left hand comes over the top, excuse me, this is the right hand, and then scoops down, looking for the needle at the bottom of the C. The left hand is at the hip, palm down, fingertips pointing forward. Now, here's the fun part. We put both the hands and the feet together from Fair Lady Work shuttles. Empty step change. Now here comes the hand circle. Turn back, replace, and sit down, looking for the needle at the bottom of the C. And relax. The next movement after needle at the C bottom is called open the arms like a fan. Now, if you're standing on one leg for any length of time, you're going to get the message that you need to step forward really quickly, and that's exactly what we do for the next movement. Watch us one time, and then we'll all do it together. Now, remember, we're facing this direction. Here's the end of needle at the C bottom. Okay, weights on the right foot. We'll do both hands and feet together. Step forward, open arms like a fan. And relax. It's another very simple step, one step for this movement. Now, Noelle's going to help me out for the footwork here. We're at the end of needle at the C bottom. I'm going to make her suffer here for a little bit. She's in this empty step, the weight's on the right foot, she's leaning forward a little bit. Now her mind's telling her, get off the right foot, so that's exactly what she does. The left foot steps straight diagonally forward and shifting into a bow step. That's our entire footwork right there. Okay? CJ will help me with the hands here. Here's the end of the needle at the bottom of the C. Remember that the left hand is by the hip, palm down, fingertips pointing forward. The right hand is dipping down into the seawater. Now, as you step forward, both hands sort of float upwards. The left hand coming up to the right wrist, lifting both hands. As you shift the weight forward, the hands separate. The left hand extends out, and the right hand, still floating, moves over to the side of the head along with the waist turn. I'm going to turn her around so that you can see it, the same movement from the other direction. Here's the end of needle at the C bottom. Now the left hand floats up, connecting with the right wrist, lifts. As you shift forward, the left hand extends out, the waist turns to open the claw, and the hand floats up to the side of the head. Okay, now let's put it all together, hands and feet. Remember, we're facing this direction, weights on the right foot, needle at the C bottom. Okay. Step forward. Open arms like a fan. Simple one step, and relax. Now the last movement, the final movement, the ending movement of the whole form is called deflect downward, parry and punch, and finally finishes up with a movement called closing the door. Watch us one time as we do these together, and then you'll follow along with us. From the end of open arms like a fan. Rock back and turn. Now, the movement, remember, uses another transition. It's called the double weight shift, just like we've done at the end of Grassbird's tail into single whip, at the end of the box both ears into the second kick. Watch us one time, and then we'll do it together. We're facing this direction. We'll do it all together, because it's footwork that everybody knows. From the end of open arms like a fan, rock back. Now the hands are just floating. Turn, hands are still floating. Shift back and step in T-step, and we're making a hold the ball. We'll show you how this is done in just a moment. Step out with the right foot, landing heel down. Pivoting on the heel, step up, step out again, and punch. Okay, now that's a lot of movement. Let's break the hands down a little bit. Now I'm going to have CJ turn to face this direction so that you can see how the hands operate. Here's the ending of open arms like a fan. As she rocks back, the hands float. Turning at the waist, the hands are still floating. Shifting back over to step in T-step, you make a hold the ball, this time with a fist on the bottom. Now the right foot steps out, and the right hand comes over the top, punching out. The back of the fist is the striking surface. The left hand palm has pushed down and is on its way out. From this position, the hands float as you turn the waist, stepping in T-step, and the right fist comes into the hip. The left hand is just floating out in space. Step forward with the left foot, and as you shift into a bow step, the right hand punches right past the left palm. Step up and punch. Now, let's see if you can follow all that along together with us. Turn to face this direction. Here's open arms like a fan. Okay. Rock back, waist turn. Step in and hold the ball. Deflect downward, turn. Step forward, and punch. Beautiful. Now we're going to stay right here because we're going to show them from the other side. Here is open arms like a fan. Rock back, turn. Step in, deflect downward. Pivoting around, you step up T-step, the fist comes to the hip, step forward, and punch. Now, everybody stay right where they are. This is our last movement, the closure of the entire routine, which is called, very appropriately, closing the door. We'll do hands and feet together, then we'll do it again so that you can follow along with us at home. From the end of step up and punch, the left hand scoops underneath the wrist and both palms open. They separate, and as you rock back, just like in grass bird's tail, the hands withdraw to you. Rock forward and push. Here's a double weight shift. Rock back, turn. The right hand separates away from the left. Shift back over to the left foot, step in a half step, and center. Wrists are crossed. Slowly the legs straighten, the palms turn over, separate, and slowly float down, closing the door. The left foot returns to the right, and that is the end of the 24-movement Yang-style short form. You did a great job. Now that you've learned all of the movements one by one, it's time to put them all together into a single routine. Now we're going to face away from you, which should make it easier for you to follow, just as if you were part of our group. Taking a nice deep breath and breathing out slowly all the way, release and relax. We're about to do opening the door. Shift the weight over to the right foot. When the left foot steps out about shoulder width, slowly center your weight and relax. Both hands rise upwards, about chest high they stop, sink down. Now we're going to do parting the wild horse's mane, step in T-step, right hand on top, holding the ball. Step out with the left foot diagonally and separate the hands. Here comes our second step. Rock back, turn left slowly. Slowly shift forward and step up T-step, left hand on top. The right foot steps out diagonally, parting the horse's mane a second time. One more step. Rock back, turn right, slowly shift forward and step up T-step, right hand on top. Then step out diagonally with the left foot for parting the horse's mane. Now here comes crane spreads wings. Empty step change, left hand on top, then crane spreads wings, turn and replace. Here comes brush knee and push. The hands circle over to the corner, step in T-step, then step out diagonally as the hand brushes past the cheek and pushes straight forward. Here's the second step. Rock back and turn. Stepping to the corner, the hands circle over, fold past the cheek, brush knee, and push. Last step, rock back, turn right, step up T-step and the hands circle to the corner, brush past the cheek, then push forward. Now here comes play the peepaw. Empty step change. The left hand floats up as the waist turns, turn back, and squeeze. Now step back repulsed monkey starts with the hand circling to the corner. Brushes past the cheek, step back and push forward. That's one step. The hand circles over to the other corner, then brushes in past the cheek, step back, second step. Remember, you're in an empty step here. All the weight's on your rear foot. Brush past the cheek with your palm. Palm over palm, push forward. That's 3 steps. Turn, step back and push forward. That's 4 steps. Just 2 more to go. The breath should be calm and relaxed. The shoulders relaxed and sinking downwards. The waist turn does all the movement. Here's our last step. We're getting ready for grasping the bird's tail. Step back. Now turn to the front. Holding the ball, right hand on top. We step out again for ward off. The right hand floats up. Then shift back and circle the hands over to the corner. Turn back and shift forward to press. The hands separate. Withdraw as you rock back. Shift forward and push. Here comes a double weight shift. First rock back, then turn to the right, separating the right hand away from the left, then shift back to the left foot and step in T-step. Stepping out, here's a second ward off. Now the left hand floats up, shift back and circle the hands over to the corner. You turn at the waist back to the front, then shift forward and press. Separate the hands, rock back and withdraw. The hands sink down, rock forward and push. Now here comes single whip. Turn the left palm to face you. Turn to the left. Circle the hands once more as you step in T-step. Remember, the quad is open and the right hand hooks. Step out diagonally and single whip. There comes a beautiful movement. Wave hands like clouds. Circle the hands over to the right. They change, shift to the left, and step up. Now remember, all the movement of this form is done with the waist turn. So let the hands circle as they will. Concentrate on moving the waist. Here comes your last step. The hands circle, step out, shift over. On the last step, shift the weight over to the right foot. The right hand hooks in the corner, and one more single whip. High pat on horse is next. After you empty step change, the right hand brushes past the cheek and pushes straight forward. Turning at the waist, we're getting ready for step up and kick with heel. Circle the hands out. Step up T-step. Now everything lifts. Slowly separate the hands as you kick to the corner. We're going to do box both ears. After you brush past the knee, you'll step into the corner, making 2 fist, box both ears. The second kick comes after a double weight shift. Circle the left hand away from the right, step in T-step. Now everything lifts and kick to the corner. Now the challenging movement, snake creeps through the grass. The right hand hooks, you step down, sink down just a little bit, push through for snake creeps through the grass. Keep going. You're going to do rooster stands on one leg, lifting the right knee. The second snake, after you step down, turn a quarter turn and the left hand hooks, step out again diagonally and slowly sink down, push through. Here comes the second rooster. All the way through, you step up, lifting the left knee. Fair Lady Work Shuttles is next. Step down a quarter turn, left hand on top holding the ball. Step out diagonally and unwind the hands, the left hand pushing. Rock back, turn to the right, step up T-step, the hands are circling, then unwinding, the right hand pushing forward to the corner. Needle at the C bottom comes after the empty step change. The hands circle, the right hand lifting up a little bit, then dipping down. Now lift both hands. The left foot steps diagonally and the hands separate as the waist opens. Now turn, here's your double weight shift. Step in T-step, this is deflect downward, parry and punch. Step up T-step, step out again and punch. We're at the very end. The hands separate, withdraw, and as you push forward, get ready for closing the door. Rock back and turn right. The right hand separating away from the left. Shift in a half a step only, crossing the wrists. Now slowly, the knees unbend, the hands separate, floating down gently. The left foot returns, and that is the end of the 24 movement Yang style short form.
We have a question for you. We want to know how many of you are sharing your new discovery with someone else. Well, if you haven't yet, let us encourage you to show your Tai Chi to a friend or loved one, or even invite someone to go to a Tai Chi class with you.
You see, the ancient Chinese masters assure us that each time we practice Tai Chi, we are improving the circulation of the Qi, the intrinsic life force within each of us. We are literally gathering it into the center and then percolating it and circulating it around the body. So in a sense, each time we practice Tai Chi, when we finish, we are more full of life than we were before. And when you teach someone else to do Tai Chi, then you're teaching them to be more full of life too. And that's one of the most precious gifts you could ever give.
Aloha.
Aloha.
If you have questions or inquiries about Tai Chi or this program, you can contact us by mail or email at these addresses.